Everyone, welcome to All Inspired. On my channel, I like to do a lot of homemaking content in hopes to inspire you along the way. We do DIYs, baking, decorating, all types of fun things here. And today we are going to be jumping into a video where we will be making some delicious little treats. You can see me putting icing on them. These are very easy, 3 ingredients, simple dessert to make for your family. We'll also be doing some DIY projects as well as making the best chicken and dumplings that you have ever had. I have perfected it. I love the way that I cook them. They're so delicious. So we're gonna jump right into it. The cats are ready to go. Ollie's cozied up on my fall decor, and Coconut is over there having a blast playing with all of the leaves. First, I'm going to start off in my living room, and I want to get this beautiful poster hung up. I was actually going to put this in a different frame, and it didn't fit properly with the matting that we had for that frame. So I just went ahead and cut it down to size for another frame, and I'm going to put it in here. And then I'm actually going to take this right along into our kitchen and work on getting our coffee bar set up. I'm just going to do a very simple, easy display in there, but first I'm going to cut this down. This was not a picture, it's actually a matted poster board, and I took a photo that we had hanging above my mantle. If you've seen some of my previous fall decorating, I usually hang this photo up there, and it's a beautiful photo. However, it's not quite my style, and so what I did was I put it into ChatGPT and I just said, make this, a more muted photo, and this is how it turned out. I think it is so stunning. You will see in a little while the original photo that ChatGPT used. I do put that on the mantle just for now until we can find a replacement, so you will see that, but I think it turned out so good. I actually took this same photo. It's a park in Paris. I just think it's a really pretty photo, and I asked it to change it to a winter photo, a Christmas photo, a spring photo, and it did. And I took the fall one. I thought it looked beautiful. I definitely wanted to use it in my decor, and I just printed it off at Walgreens. I think it was like $5 or $6. I did the poster, and so if you did such a large photograph, it tends to be a little bit more expensive, but because I was already wanting to go with a really matte finish, I went ahead and printed it on the poster board, and so it wasn't even that expensive, and I think it turned out great. What do you guys think? Now that I got that done, we're going to do some DIYs. I love to go ahead and change up my decor every year, but it gets way too expensive buying new decor every year. So I have these pumpkins. They were a different color at one point. I spray painted them this very beautiful cream color, and then this year I want to go ahead and add some texture to it. So I have this is for drywall, I do believe. I'm not really sure, but I do believe it's for drywall. Yeah, it says sheetrock on it. So that is for drywall when you're putting your drywall up and you have to mud and tape. This is the mud, I guess. And so I'm just putting it on here. I just recommend however you like. If you want a lot of texture, just go ahead and scoop it out like I am and just dab it on there. If you just want a little bit of texture, like it kind of look a little sandy, just have a little bit of bumps here and there, then water it down, because mine ends up being very textured, and you can always go back in and kind of slightly sand it down, or even before it dries, take a whole new wet paper towel and just lightly rub on it, and you can get some of those kind of rougher edges smoothed out a bit. But I wanted a very textured pumpkin, and so I just went ahead and lathered this crack or vessel, and I picked this up a while, I think from Kirkland's. It was like $12, $13. You can see it on the bottom, and it's concrete, and it's made for your utensils. It has a cute little saying on the other side, but I've been using this to put my florals in, and I wanted to kind of make this not so gray. I'm kind of toning down the grays that are in my house, and so I had an old bottle of brown paint, and it was just, it wasn't coming out anymore, but there was still some on the edges, and I just put a little bit of water in there, and I took a wet paper towel and I just shook up the brown paint as good as I could, and then just made like a paint wash and went all over the vessel, and that concrete just soaked it up and gave it a very beautiful rich brown color that I really love, and you'll see that styled in just a few moments. But now that is that photo that I was telling you about, the one that I put above the coffee area a few minutes ago. This is the one that I used in ChatGPT and had them turn it into a more muted fall photo. I still love this photo. I still intend to use it somewhere else in the house, but I do like to switch up my decor, and I've been displaying this up here for several years in a row. Last year, I actually did have a mirror up there, which looked fantastic, and I put a grapevine wreath up there with some beautiful maroon florals that went around it, a beautiful garland. However, the weight of the wreath pulled the mirror down off the wall and it broke. So I am going to be finding something else to put in this space because I have used this for 2 years before that, and I just want to move it somewhere else in the home. And I actually want to cut it down and put it in a smaller frame, or maybe find some beautiful matting for this frame. I just want to switch up the matting that's in it right now. But I think that this space could turn out very beautiful. I really do want to have another mirror there. I just feel like it really opened up the space and made the decor look really beautiful, especially when you add in your lighting elements, the little twinkle lights. And when I light my candles up here, it just gives it such a elegance when you have a mirror behind it and those glowing things are reflected. I think it looks so beautiful. So I'm in search for some sort of a mirror to put up here, but I'm going to keep decorating these. I always struggle with them. You guys, please let me know what you think on how these turned out. My idea was to make them look like sisters. I've been trying really hard to also fill in the bookcases entirely. Before, when I was decorating them, I was just kind of doing a few here and there. Now I've been trying to fill every single space up, and I think it does turn out good. And I do mix up some of the things where it's not exactly the same on each side, but it's mostly the same. The base is the same. We have the same number of books and the same number of items. However, it might be a different shaped vessel or different florals or just a different texture on each side, just so that the visual interest is on both sides rather than just pulling everything in the middle. I kind of want your eye to be drawn all the way across this wall, not just at one point of the wall. So I tried to add many different textures on both sides. This is that vessel that I put the brown wash on. Look at how phenomenal that turned out. I think that is so absolutely stunning. Those florals, the same thing. I used that same brown wash. They're from the Dollar Tree, and I just put a little bit of that on there, dabbed it on and let it dry, and then toned them down so much and made them look so beautiful. If you want to see how I did that, I do have a reel showing you how. The books that are on there with the floral print, I was inspired to do those because my youngest asked where the color is. Where's the color? Where's the color? And so I wanted to add a little bit more color in our decor. And so I went ahead and I had these napkins, and I've been saving these ever since we moved in. The people that lived here before left them in our hall bath. I thought they were just very, very stunning napkins. They were clearly had them on display and were using them. But I wanted to use them in more of a purposeful manner where they would last for a really long time rather than just wiping your hands and throwing them away. And so I actually picked up some books from a thrift store, and I went ahead and put Mod Podge on them and sealed them all in, and just basically, back in I'm going to show my age here. I'm a little bit older. So back when we used to use books in school rather than computers, we would wrap up our books to protect them. You would either use like special things that you could buy at the store and wrap them, or sometimes we would use brown paper bags to wrap them. Either way, it was like a protective layer for your book because those things were expensive and you didn't want to have to pay for them at the end of the year. And so that's basically what I did. I took these napkins and I very delicately wrapped them around the book and then glued them on there and then just Mod Podge the whole entire thing and sealed it in. I do have a video, a little tutorial if you want to see exactly how I did it. It is in my shorts. A lot of the times I didn't want to fill this whole video with DIYs. I did want to give you a little bit of DIY inspiration and a little bit of cooking inspiration. So we do have some of that in here as well, but I didn't want to fill up the whole entirety of the video with just one thing. On my channel, I like to focus on homemaking, so I like to have a variety of different things in the videos. However, if you see DIYs on my videos that you're wondering how I did them, but I didn't actually show you in the video, it's very likely that you can go and find those in my shorts. I did promise you guys my famous chicken and dumplings recipe. So I didn't show this to you because not everyone wants to see this, but I take the raw chicken. I buy it from the store. You can get it at Schnucks. They do have pre-seasoned chicken, which is amazing. It's already washed, ready to go, and you can throw it in there. This time I just went and bought my own chicken, seasoned it, put it in the crock pot, and I let it cook. You can also grab a rotisserie chicken if you want to omit this step. I just like this step because I don't have to put chicken broth or anything like that in here. I literally just put water, all my seasonings, chicken, and I cook this on low. I start it in the morning and cook it all day. And then I just take all the chicken off the bone and place it back in there. Your broth is from the chicken bones in there cooking. It's delicious. It is what I feel like makes this recipe, but you can also take a whole rotisserie chicken, put that in some water and do it that way too. It still turns out really good. I prefer it with the chicken rather than the rotisserie. Then I just go ahead and I grab some biscuits and I throw them on my little cutting board, and I grab my kitchen scissors and just chop them up. I'm just taking the easy way out. You can cook them up from scratch. I'm sure they are amazing, but this is just as good and just very simple way to do it. However, if you're doing it in the crock pot, it does take a bit of time for it to cook. I usually will do this an hour before I'm serving it. I will usually also crank it up to medium. If you push it all the way up to high, you'll start to notice that your biscuits start to cook around the edges and not in the middle. So I don't like to do that, but I like to boost it on up to medium and then give it about an hour for these to cook. And you may have to come in every so often and just scrape along the sides so that it's not sticking to the sides, because it will bake onto the edges of your crock pot.
If only I could finish something, run straight through to the end, close a chapter dignified. Damn girl, you did it again. But will it ever be enough when I'm bent on trying to keep it tough? Will I ever settle down, happy with the here and now? When will it ever be enough? Ever be enough? Ever be enough? If only I could build a tower, pierce right through the clouds. Saxophones at every hour. Who hasn't heard of me now? Then will I have had enough of trying to keep myself real tough? Will I ever settle down, steady even when it gets loud?
I wanted to add in a mix of different colors, so I went ahead and did some beautiful maroon stems up in my front entryway and a nice vessel. And then I have this other DIY vase that I did some muted yellows and orange colors and placed my DIY pumpkins in there as well. And then I'm going to move over to this other side. I went thrifting and I found this really beautiful, more on the muted, not as bright, more realistic, very small garland. And so I decided to go ahead and wrap it around this banister right here and just make it have a more whimsical look. When the kids ask for more color and more decor, I'm going to go ahead and give it to them on a nice budget. It's not typically my style. However, The best thing about decorating is all those feels that you have when, you bring out the Christmas tree. When you were a little kid, you felt so happy inside. And so that's what brings me joy when I decorate. And so even if it's not my particular taste, if the kids ask for some color, then we're going to bring in some color. And I feel like this is a perfect blend of my taste and adding in some color. You can see on that pillow it had Easter on the one side, except for I love that pattern. And so I went ahead and leaned it right up against the wall, and no one knows that it's Easter. And I don't have to store it in a bin. So it's a win-win. I'm going to add just a little bit of decor in our dining room. I'm adding some pumpkins into this really beautiful dough bowl. I love the brown, adding in some warm tones in here. And then just this simple salt and pepper shaker with some napkins. I think it turns out perfectly. I love the little burlap. It's really just a piece of burlap, but I just threw it on there just as some fun. We use our dining room table, and so I don't like to add a lot, but I think it turns out really cute. Now I'm making these very simple dessert. You can also have these for breakfast or whatever you like. My mother-in-law showed me these. She said they're a Weight Watchers recipe. They are delicious. I would have never known that they're a Weight Watchers recipe, but you just go ahead and grab any cake mix that's the spice cake mix. You grab that, you grab a can of pumpkin puree and 1 egg, you mix it all together. You're about to see, I hand mix it, don't hand mix it. If you have a mixer, use the mixer. It makes it so much easier to get it blended up. It took me forever to mix this, but you just mix it up really, really well. And then I put mine into little muffin tins and baked it for 15 minutes, and they turned out so good. You will see I turned it into a dessert by adding some cream cheese icing on the top, and they turn out so delicious. Very simple dessert, but very tasty. Even your kids could help you make this, even the little kids. It's just so simple. Few easy steps. You really can't beat that. I've also we have a mix that we get from Sam's Club, and you can make, it's a pumpkin spice baking mix. You can make pancakes, you can make bread, or you can make cookies from it. And I've actually taken that. My husband went and we've made this again since then, and he ended up buying the large thing of puree. And so I needed to add extra cake mix in there. And I decided to use our pumpkin mix that we have with the spice, and it turns out so delicious. You really can't mess this up. Even if you don't like the spice, you could use white cake mix, whatever you like. And it turns out so good. And apparently it's part of Weight Watchers. So I don't know if you're involved in that, but if you are, I guess you can count your points or whatever, and you know how much you're having. So delicious little treats. If you omit the icing, you could even have this for a breakfast. I don't eat them for breakfast. I feel like it's a dessert, but I do feel like that it could be a quick and easy grab and go breakfast item on those days where you have a lot going on. Or even my husband, I've been making the kids smoothies so that I can get them protein because they have a lot of sports and things going on. And he has salted caramel flavored protein. And so I was even thinking about being able to put like some of his protein powder in here, and that could make it a healthier option too. Have you guys ever tried these, and what do you think? Here's how they all turned out. Little muffins that taste like fall time. I actually just turned them into a sweet little dessert by taking some cream cheese icing and just piping it on the top. It turns out so delicious. These things are, I almost felt like they wouldn't rise or like they wouldn't cook properly, but they did. And they are very tasty. If you end up making them, let me know how yours turned out. And if you try any of the other cake mixes, the white cakes mix or different flavors, let me know how those are, because I imagine there's a lot of flavors that with this could go well with. Desserts in my little cake tray so that I have those for later on. But now let's take a look at the chicken and dumplings. All of the biscuits are nice and cooked and ready to go. And so I'm actually going to set up some bowls and some silverware over here so my family can come over and grab some dinner whenever they're ready. Sometimes when I make these crackpot meals, it's because, we have sports and activities and things going on and we're coming and going, and we may not be able to always eat at the same time. So I'm just going to set some bowls and silverware out. And as soon as I get that done, I will show you guys a look around and let you see all of the beautiful fall decor. I'm also going to be making a fall marathon where it will be a lot of calming fall music, and you'll just be seeing me over the years how I decorate the home. It'll be a lot less talking and a lot more of me just decorating. So let me know if you want to see that coming up, and if you do, hit that subscribe button, because then you'll get notified whenever the video is posted, and it'll be coming up later this week. And so here's a quick look around on how all of my fall decor turned out this year. If you like these style videos where I do a lot of talking, please hit that like button. Not only does it help out my channel tremendously, it also lets me know exactly what I should do in content for you guys and what you're enjoying. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you for watching my channel and engaging with me. I really appreciate all of you. I'll see you in the next one.